Now, there are a lot of improvisational techniques ranging from common sense sorts of processes and going right up to the most lofty and technical levels. Here are a few that are very effective. Most musicians use a combination of these and other techniques. In other words, they switch from one to the other as they play. One methodology is the chordal approach, where you use the notes of the chord that are being played at the time. Another is the scalar technique, where you use the notes of the scale. Another is the use of chromaticism, where you throw in some semitones amidst the notes you are playing. Another is the melodic approach, where you play the notes of the melody and then do away with some of the melody notes and put in some notes of your own choice. These are 4 procedures that can take you well into the improvisational world. And I'm going to demonstrate them all for you. But let's take it slowly. In a real-life situation, the band will be playing, a lead instrument will be carrying the melody, maybe a vocalist will be singing. And when this part is ended, it's now time for an instrumentalist, and this instrumentalist is you, to take your turn to play. You're going to improvise. Maybe you'll play a verse of the song and then start your improvisation. You are going to play a new melody, a solo, an ad-lib. You're going to extemporize. These are all names, meaning that you're going to depart from playing the melody and come up with a new composition. The band is going to be playing in the meanwhile. The bassist, the guitarist, the keyboardist, maybe others are going to be laying down the chords, the harmony of the song, and you are going to take off with your solo. I think I've said it enough times already. However, you don't just start to play notes willy-nilly. You have to play notes that are going to sit well and be congruent with the harmony, with the chords. Now, one way of beginning your improv is to use the scalar principle. We have broached this earlier in this series in the 2 preceding videos. But what this means is this. You've determined that all of the chords of the song are natural chords of the scale and there are no outside chords. So you determine you are going to use the scalar approach to begin, and you start to play. Your aim now is to play an attractive melody. So you are going to be playing notes that are going to be congruent with the chords of the G scale. And you are about to play your first note. But what is this first note going to be? The G scale has 7 notes. Which is going to be your first note? Because do you know that the note that you start to play, your first note, can set the tone for your improvisation? I know this might startle you at the moment, but I'm going to show you why. Just by the way, and for clarity, let me just say, for simplicity, that everything that I do in this series is going to be in the key of G. Now let me show you something. Take your instrument. and play the G scale. Now, starting, by the way, whenever you come to these lessons, have your instrument handy. Want you to start to play the G scale. Start on the G scale note and play G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. Good. Now I want you to play the scale again, but this time begin on the second degree of the scale, which is the second note of the scale, which is the note A. And I want you to play for me A, B, C, D, E, F, G sharp, A. Now, do you hear how totally different that scale sounds? And yet they're the G scale notes played in sequence. The difference being is that you started on A instead of G, but it gives the scale a whole different tone, sound, feeling. Okay? Go again. This time I want you to start on the note C, the fourth note of the scale, and play C, D, E, F, G, I beg your pardon, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C. Now listen to that. Hear how that one sounds? Totally different than if you started on A. Totally different than if you started on G. And yet again, these are simply the G scale notes being played in sequence. Now, in the technical jargon, these scales within the scale are called modes. And these scales, these modes actually have a name, but their names are not important, and so we can leave that for another time. So when you start your improvisation, you have to decide on which note of the scale you want to begin, because depending on the note that you start on, you will bring a great variation of tone, mood, feeling, and so forth to your improvisation, depending upon the scale that you want to start, that you started on. Now, I know that all of you watching here right now might not have your instrument to hand, so I'm going to play these scales for you so you can hear them. Okay? First, let me play the G scale. See if I can turn the camera here that you might be able to follow it here. Here's the G scale. Now let me play the G scale again, but this time we're starting on A. And listen to the difference of the scale. How do you like that one? Let me begin on C. Alright, so 3 scales there, all using the same notes, but the difference is that you began on a different note. So here we go, time is coming up, bringing this to a close, and we are going to carry on from here on the next lesson following. More time.